Sixer is a killer I've been wanting to talk about for a good while now. Ever since my Sixer guide, which is heavily outdated and, in all honesty, just wrong in its statements, I've had an itch to make something about them. And after deciding to take a second look into Sixer and how they are played, I think that I found something which is generally considered a controversial opinion in most balancing. But I like that. It gives me a chance to shine some spotlight onto Sixer first. Not just her balancing, but, him in general. This video will be kind of lengthy, so I'll put timestamps for you to jump around in. But first things first, let's get started with the most blatant thing, which is his moveset. Playstyle-wise, Sixer is played as a snowballer / attrition burst character. If you are one of my friends, you might be surprised at this labeling, as I would usually classify Sixer as a pure attrition burst character. But, oh yeah, he's definitely a snowballer. Now, these labels don't really explain why I see her as such, so let me explain real quick. Attrition burst, at least how I'd like to describe it, is a character that gets their kills and chase power from big bursts of energy, basically John Rage mode. As for snowballer, you already know what that means, but I'll get more into it in a second. Sixer's decent speed, but it becomes pretty shitty when you factor in his larger hitbox, causing their traps to take wider turns and overall just worse pathing than other killers, and other survivors in general. This is a good thing though, I like this, and I'll explain it in a second. And I know I keep saying that, but it's kind of hard not to without explaining their kit. Passives. Sixer has 3 passives: Hellforged Will, Manic Fixation, and Bloodhound. Hellforged Will is simply a 25% reduction on incoming negative attacks that turns into 50% when in Bloodhound. Manic Fixation gives Sixer a 10% speed boost when running towards or within 30 studs of a marked survivor. Marked being the debuff Sixer gives rather than highlighted survivors. Marked works differently than highlights as it is exclusive to Sixer. Marked simply causes the survivor to be highlighted, but red. Along with that, it also makes it bypass any current undetectable when given. Keynote on when given. While it stops undetectable when applied, it doesn't stop it if undetectable is gained, while the survivor is already marked. Besides that, the 10% speed boost turns into 15% speed boost if further away, which in addition to the universal speed buff killers get when far away totals up to 25%. Bloodhound allows a select move of Sixer attacks to give the Hemorrhage debuff for 2 minutes. Hemorrhage causes survivors inflicted to slowly gain veins that encapsulate their HP, reducing their unhealable HP. This can only be rid of by using a medkit or having another teammate assist you. Along with this, it also makes the survivors occasionally drop blood orbs, with the rate increasing when running out of and decreasing when not in chase. These blood orbs can be collected by Sixer by simply walking by them, with the blood orbs floating to her faster and faster based on how close she is. When collecting a blood orb, Sixer gains 15 blood and reduces the cooldown of every ability besides her M1 by 3 seconds. At the start of the match, Sixer can only collect a maximum of 250, with the cap growing by 50 every time Bloodhound is used. Abilities! They have 6. Carving Slash is simply his M1. It pierces and deals 20 damage. That's it! Eviscerate is a sub-move tied to Sixer's M1. Upon holding the M1 rather than clicking a separate ability, Sixer spends 10 blood points to lunge forward and deal 10 damage. Anyone hit is also given the Hemorrhage debuff, and gives Sixer slowest 1 for 1.75 seconds and 15 blood in return. However, if the move is missed, the slowness is increased to 3 seconds and no blood is refunded. Infernal Cry causes Sixers to scream really loudly towards her cursor in a large hitbox. If it is a survivor, it causes them to have blindness for a bit and have their camera drawn towards Sixer. Along with this, it also highlights them to Sixer with Marked for 12 seconds and makes them drop 2 blood orbs if they are already hemorrhaged. Demonic Pursuit is a dash ability that causes Sixer to lunge forward or upward, dealing scaling damage with however long the ability is charged, with a minimum windup of 0.5 seconds. Upon hitting the survivor, Sixer will grab them and slash them, dealing 26, 33, or 40 damage depending on how long the ability was charged. Afterwards, Sixer will throw them to the left and scream. Blood Rush is an aura reveal, giving everyone on the map marked for a growing amount of time depending on their distance, though when reached full blood capacity turns into Blood Hunt. Costs 250 blood to use, plus 50 more for every previous Blood Hunt used. World turns Mega Red, and match can't end along with 25-second timer can be started. Sixer gets mega buffed. Sixer gets mega buffed. In short, you are fucked, but here's the buffs she gets. 4% speed boost, resets all cooldowns, raises all blood, loses the ability to use Blood Rush during Blood Hunt. Every survivor on the map is highlighted every 5 seconds. Any hemorrhage survivor will have white highlights and is shown every 2.5 seconds. Entering chase decreases the timer drained by 50%. Tear radius is also reduced by 50%. Healing a survivor adds another 15 seconds to the timer, with the added time reducing by 2.5 seconds in said Blood Hunt for every previous count. Infernal Cry now reaches 40% shorter. Infernal Cry deals 10 damage to a survivor and gives Strength 1 and Speed 1 for 6 and 2 seconds respectively to Sixer. Demonic Pursuit deals 0.4 or more damage for every unhealable hemorrhage HP, and Hellforged Will passive is buffed 50%. Now that I've told you her moveset, it's about time I actually explain why this makes Sixer actually pretty balanced. Well, to start, Sixer is almost completely reliant on Bloodhunt to get some consistent kills, as about 2 competent teammates can severely hinder in his chase of whoever is getting chased. Yeah. Sixer has a built-in debuff, that being her size, as I've mentioned before. This causes her to have to path worse and less optimal routes than other killers and the survivors, though her marked debuff compensates for that. With Blood Rush alone, her start chases but not really keep them, while his Infernal Cry acts as a chase helper, keeping them that previously mentioned 10% speed boost, and even acts as a replacement to Blood Rush to skip the 3-second windup and get in some quick speed, though if avoided can be lethal to Sixer. Besides that, utilizing Hemorrhage, you can gain blood points incredibly easy, allowing you to compensate your long cooldowns and even get past normal cooldown times, making you even more terrorizing. Along with this, it can prevent the person you've hemorrhaged to not be able to heal at all until someone removes their hemorrhage, and if that person is chased, then it becomes impossible for them to heal. Now, this sounds very good, which it is, but it comes with the problem that people can remove it, which means if even one person knows how to remove hemorrhage, they can get the entire team to, completely stopping you in your tracks. Though this can be prevented by slowly or quickly if you have enough people hemorrhage, building up Bloodhunt. As Bloodhunt acts as a hot streak for Sixer, letting you deal big damage by simply landing Infernal Cry or Demonic Pursuit on hemorrhage survivors. Hemorrhage survivors are incredibly vulnerable and easy to find at this state. Now, this is a good thing, but this comes at the cost of those said hemorrhage survivors being gone after you kill them, meaning you don't get their delicious blood, and instead replacing it with the fact that while hemorrhage people is fewer, the survivors with them are in very small numbers, and less likely to be able to get rid of it from a teammate or having to waste a medkit to do so, allowing you a steady gain of hemorrhage. Also, Demonic Pursuit can be used to scale loops and get you a good advantage. I only mentioned it once because it's mainly just used for damage, and also in the small scenario where you use Blood Rush and lunge towards the survivor to get the mark debuff for a bit longer guaranteed. Besides that, here's some small example matches for what I mean. But yeah, that's mainly it, yo. Subscribe or some shit.